Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Barbara Coffey, Director of Economic Initiatives for the City of Tucson. This is our March edition of our monthly webinar series for small business, Connecting for Success. Today, we'll hear from state and local tax experts right in the middle of tax season. So it is perfect timing. Maybe you have large and looming questions and we'll get some answers for you today. We will take your questions as we go, so feel free to enter those in the chat box and we'll get to as many of those as possible in our time together this afternoon. We'll keep all participants muted since we do have a large number of attendees. This also helps us record the webinars and make them available. This one will be posted tomorrow afternoon. You can find links to all previous webinars at connecttucson.com. I'll start by sharing information on each of our speakers today, and then I'll turn it over to Francisca Villegas on my team to moderate our panel for today. Megan Hawker serves as the Education and Training Programs Administrator for the Arizona Department of Revenue. Prior to her role there, Megan held several management positions with a big box retailer before deciding a career change was in order. Megan began her journey with the Arizona Department of Revenue in collections customer care before being promoted to specialty tax auditor. Her commitment to serve and passion to help Arizona taxpayers led her to her current role in education and training. Yvonne Davila Paredes is a tax audit supervisor with the City of Tucson Business Services Department. Yvonne has been with the city in the tax audit division for 14 years, 3 years as a tax auditor, 11 as a tax audit supervisor. Prior to working for the City of Tucson, she worked as a tax auditor for the Arizona Department of Revenue for 20 years. Talk about a commitment to what she does. Yvonne is a native Tucsonan and holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from the University of Arizona. Armando Ojeda is a certified SCORE mentor and volunteers as workshop chair for the SCORE Southern Arizona chapter in Tucson. SCORE is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to fostering vibrant small business communities through mentoring and education. Armando has a professional background as a corporate executive, business association director, and small business owner. Among his previous posts, President and CEO of Marvel Earth Management, Director of Minority Supplier Development, Ford Motor Company, and Executive Director, Michigan Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Armando is a graduate of Michigan State University and also studied at the Universidad de las Americas in Cholula, Mexico. And I think about superheroes, Armando, when I see Marvel Earth Management. You are a superhero indeed. So Francisca, I'll turn it over to you to get us started with this fantastic panel of speakers in a very timely setting, being right in the middle of tax season. So Francisca.
Thank you, and thank you so much for being with us today. We actually thought about what would be a good topic to talk about during our webinar in tax season, and it's right around the corner, and we're getting a lot of questions, so we're very grateful that you took the time to be with us. And what's going to happen, you will have 10 to 15 minutes to go over your presentation. And then at the end, we have a few questions, and we will be taking questions from the participants as well. If you don't have the answer, you can get back to us. We will share the answer at a later time. So with that, we would like to start with Megan from the Arizona Department of Revenue.
Hi, guys, and thanks for having me. Like the wonderful introduction said, my name is Megan Hawker. I am the Education and Trainings Program Administrator here at the Arizona Department of Revenue. And I always like to start anything that I say by saying that I am the good guy. I am not a collector. I am not an auditor. I am simply an education and outreach. So my job is to attempt to break down the complex tax laws of Arizona and make them more manageable for folks to understand. We know that 9 times out of 10 people want to do it correctly, they just don't know how, and that is where my team comes into play. So what I'm going to share with you guys are some available resources and places that you can go to get help, ways that you can contact the department, and various different avenues to seek assistance when you are trying to file and pay your taxes. So let me share my screen here, maybe. Here we go. All right, and what you guys should all be seeing is the avdor.gov homepage. Can everybody see that? Yes, perfect. Okay. So on the homepage, the first thing that I'm going to direct you to do is to sign up for our Gov Delivery newsletter. So if you log on to azdor.gov, sometimes a box will populate right in the middle that says subscribe for updates. In that box, you can either input your telephone number, your cell phone number, or an email address, and you can subscribe to receive updates from the Department of Revenue. This could be things such as tax rate changes, filing reminders, payment reminders, annual renewal reminders, all kinds of things that come from the Department of Revenue. If that little box does not generate, no worries. You can scroll on down to the very bottom of the page here and click this button that says subscribe for updates, and it will take you to the exact same place. You can enter your email or phone number if you prefer text messages and select what you would like to receive updates on. I do highly recommend that because, you know, sometimes if you're a quarterly or potentially an annual filer for your transaction privilege tax, that due date may slip your mind because it's not something that you're doing on a regular basis. So subscribe to receive our updates. That's my key pointer number one. The second thing that I want everyone to become familiar with is this box right here on the right-hand side of your screen that says taxpayer education. 9 times out of 10, when we're visiting the Department of Revenue's website, it is to get a form or seek for one specific thing. But we have this whole page dedicated to taxpayer education. So I recommend becoming familiar with it, poking through, looking at it, seeing what's available, but we're going to do that a bit today. So if you click on taxpayer education, it brings you to this page where you can see all of our upcoming events, meaning we host workshops. So if you need assistance, feel free to take one of our workshops, and we'll go there in just a minute. The second section here is for online tutorials, and this is where you can see more about individual income taxes, transaction privilege tax, or I believe there's tobacco tax on here as well. And then you can request a speaker. And that'll get you to something like we're doing today, where one of us from the Department of Revenue can come speak to your group about various tax-related topics, because that's always fun. Everybody loves a little tax talk, right? So the first thing we're going to do is look at this online tutorial section. So if you click online tutorials, it's going to bring you to this little landing page where you can select what type of information you would like to look at. So if we click transaction privilege tax, that is going to bring you to a litany of resources that we have available for you. If you need help with setting up your aztaxes.gov account, you can click here and get a tutorial on how to do that. If you need step-by-step instructions on how to file a TPT return, you can download the step-by-step instructions. You can print them, you can bookmark them, whatever you would like to do. If you're more of a visual person and you want to see it in process as you're filing your returns, we have all kinds of video tutorials available. One of my favorite ones is this video right here, this very first one, common TPT errors and how to avoid them. So this is the majority of reasons that returns don't post appropriately to a taxpayer's account. They're simple mistakes, but they are very, very common mistakes. So I recommend you watching that video, taking a look, looking at your account and see if potentially you're making any of these mistakes inadvertently, which could cause you to get a number of either delinquency letters or tax correction notices when it's a quick and easy fix. So always start there. We have a license renewal video. We just passed our license renewal period. You know, TPT licenses are valid for 1 calendar year. So if you got a notice that said you needed to renew, we do have a video on how to complete that process. If you're new to AZ Taxes, you've never done anything with that software before, we do have guides on how to complete the new user registration, how to link your business, how to request and authorize delegate user access, and again, how to file and make a payment. So all kinds of videos for you to watch. If you have licensed your business already and you need to make an update, we have a video on how to complete a business account update form. That is one of the most daunting forms at the department. It's somewhere in the ballpark of 14 sections and spans multiple pages. So when someone sees that, it can be a little overwhelming, thinking that you have to complete everything on there to make an update, and that's not the case. So watch the video and see how to properly complete that business account update. If you need to add a location to your business profile on AZ Taxes, we have a PDF available for that as well. Let's see. If you're engaged as a property management company, we have resources for those, how to look up proper tax rates, how to complete a power of attorney, all kinds of online resources. Now, if you are progressing down your business and you find that you need one-on-one assistance or you need more guidance, you need more instruction on how to use deduction codes, how to use exemption certificates, I highly recommend that you take one of our workshops. And to do that, you're just going to go right on back. If we go back to the homepage here to taxpayer education, and instead of clicking on online tutorials, you're actually going to click on this upcoming event. And we've broken it out into type of workshops that you might be interested in. Our most popular is our business tax workshop. And in light of COVID, we are still operating in a virtual environment. So most of our presentations are done via WebEx. So anywhere you have an internet connection via a phone or your computer, your tablet, your iPad, whatever you have, you can access our resources and our workshops. Click on this little arrow right here for Business Tax Workshop. You can see all of the workshops that we have available from now to the end of the year. If you find one that works for your schedule, just click on the link and get registered, and then join us on the day and time of the class. These business tax workshops do cover the basics of transaction privilege tax from start to finish. They do run about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, depending upon the amount of questions that we receive from our participants. But they all are always done with 2 individuals, one person being the facilitator and one person in the chat assisting with questions. So always someone available to assist with whatever questions that you guys might have. And then let's see, a way to get in touch with us is the last thing that I promised you. So if you have general knowledge questions, how to complete the return, how to make the payment, nothing that is account specific, you are by all means welcome to email my team. And you can email us. I'm going to drop it in the chat here at educationunit@azdor.gov. And again, don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. We are not collectors. We are not auditors. We are simply education and outreach. And we want to make these taxes easy to understand, or as easy as possible to understand. We know they're not easy, but as easy as possible. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. I always tell folks that we may not know all of the answers, but we know the folks that know the answers. So don't ever hesitate to reach out, look at our online resources, see what we already have available for you, because there might be something out there that already could answer your question. And then if you do have account specific information, your best bet is to call into the department at our general number 602-255-3381, or to email aztaxhelp@azdor.gov. And I will put both of those in the chat here. 602-255. I never call that number, so I'm like, what is it? And then the other email address I referenced, aztaxhelp@azdor.gov. And I just realized I'm putting that to the host. So all of the hosts and panelists, my wonderful co-hosts here with me today, you all have that information, but nobody else does. So let me send that to the right folks. And that is all I have to share with you guys today. But if there are any questions, I would be glad to answer those for you.
Wow, thank you, Megan. We're right on time. We actually have 5 more minutes, so I'm sure the participants will have a lot of questions. So let's go over the presentations and then we'll go through the Q&A at the end. So with that, Yvonne, thank you so much for being with us today. And we're very excited to hear from you.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I apologize. I've never done a Zoom meeting as a presenter, so I might need some assistance from.
Yvonne, let us share the PowerPoint. I have it. We'll share it for you.
Okay, if you would, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, if you want to go ahead and start while we do that, that's totally fine.
Okay, so I had an agenda for our meeting, which is the second slide. Have you shared that?
Yes, it's on. It's great.
Okay. So what I wanted to do is go over our website that is full of information regarding how to apply for a license and what is needed, and it also provides a lot of links depending on the type of business that you are starting. So let's get right to it. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so we've already gone through my background, so we need to go to the next slide, which is the Business Services Department. And I'm not seeing it on the presentation, so I don't know what you guys are seeing.
Frankie, are you able to advance the slides? There we go.
Okay,
All right.
one more. There we go.
Perfect.
Yay, thank you. Okay, so no, back to the, no, keep going. The third one, the one that had the Business Services Department. There we go. Like Francisca introduced me already regarding, that's why I kind of skipped through the bio. I've been with TPT Tax for over 30 years now. So, so I just kind of want to give you some information. I know you have a lot of questions starting a business. So what I wanted to do is give you kind of the basics, the links where you can find all the information on our webpage. So if you go to tucsonaz.gov, finance and apply, you will find our contact information, all our emails and faxes, our mailing address, and our office address, which we recently moved the past August into this new building over at County City Public Works on the 5th floor. But the licensing department or main window is located on the 1st floor. And we do take walk-ins. There's a kiosk when you come into the building right next to the cashier, and then they'll call you up and they'll walk you through the whole process. So if we go to the next slide. So if you're starting a new business, there's if you're starting a taxable business, meaning that you're selling products or items that under activities that would be considered taxable, you will need a tax license. And as Megan graciously did my work on providing the azdor.gov website, there's a lot of information. As you can see, she ran through it pretty fast, but there's also a lot of information regarding applying for the license. And that's the first thing we would do is if you have a taxable activity, we would direct you to their website to fill out their form. Okay, but there are a lot of businesses that are not taxable and do not require a tax license. So let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so before we go into that, before you apply for a license, a city license, like I said, every business doing any type of activity within the city limits must have a business license. But if you are buying a business that's already in process or you're just taking over, these are the few pointers that I wanted to give to you as far as making sure that the sellers that you are buying from have no liabilities outstanding regarding taxes. So what we do is you can call us and we can give you a letter of good standing. So that assures you that there's no tax outstanding for that business. So that gives you a little piece of security there. Additionally, if there's a liquor license involved, that's also another thing that you want to contact our investigators. And there's the number there to call them, 5207914247. And that also, they'll let you know if there's been any liquor complaints filed so that you can be more aware of what you are purchasing. Excuse me. And then also another common error that happens is that the mailing address may have Tucson, Arizona on it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are within the city limits. So before you determine that you are a business in the city of Tucson, make sure that you call us and we can tell you if you're in the city limits, or a lot of times, you know, Marana, Oro Valley get mixed up with people, you know, have the same Tucson address. And also if you're located in Pima County, you wouldn't need the business license. So these are just things you would like to have to make sure before you are applying for a business license with us. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so what we have on the website also to help you through our process is there's a 17-step business license process. It seems like a lot of steps, but basically it's a yes/no little format. And what it does is it gives you a lot of information as far as, you know, what type of business you are. If you're in restaurant, it also gives you the links to the other state departments that you would need to contact. For example, the liquor license, the health department, and so forth. So it's a nice little brochure that makes you go through the process and helps you determine what type of license you need. So there's the link for that. And again, this is all found on that one page, our web page that I showed you in the beginning. Okay, so the next one, please. So we, in January 1st of 2017, the state took over the administration of the tax filing, but there's sometimes there's a need to go back and file an old return. So up through 2016, we still had returns coming in. So if you wish to file a paper form, we have a paper form to file. But also, we also have, if you're applying for the license in the first place, we have a downloadable business license application form. If you're like me, kind of technically efficient, not efficient enough on the technology side, and you still like to do things on paper, you are able to file by paper. But then we also have our updated version on our website, along with, as you can see on the right-hand side, the information. The items in blue are our links. And again, you can find all of these on our webpage. But the website allows you to apply for the license. It also allows you to file returns. It also allows you to pay any license fees and taxes that are due. You can review your account, and you could always contact us if you have any questions or any issues with the site. Okay, next. Okay, if you are considering a home-based business, in other words, you will be working from your home. When you are applying for the license, we also ask you to fill out a home occupation form. And that's also for you. What it does is you fill it out for the type of business, because what we try and do is we send it to our zoning department, make sure that you comply with the correct zoning for that type of business. Because as a individual, if you own a resident, you don't want a car dealer as your neighbor. So we limit what type of businesses can be based out of your home. So what we do is, this is how we make sure that the right type of businesses are in the right locations. And again, you download a PDF and then you just sign it and then you send it with your application. Okay. And I like to answer questions. I'm more of a one-on-one person, so I'm giving you our tax audit number. And I know Megan says be afraid of the auditors, but please don't. We love to answer questions. Like I said, I'm more comfortable answering questions and dealing with people one-on-one. We are there 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And I've also provided the Arizona Department of Revenue customer care number. You can contact them. Also, if you need to make an appointment with them, you can. We are available again at the Public Works Building downtown on the 5th floor. And you can call us to make an appointment, or if you happen to be downtown, you come right on up and we'll answer any questions we can. Okay, and I think that's all I got. Again, if you have questions, I'll be here. Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. You shared such valuable information. And just a quick question before we move on, and I forget. The letter of good standing for businesses that are buying existing businesses should come from the city of Tucson, the state, or both?
They both have them because you want to make sure that there's no city liabilities on the business. So I would, to be safe, you should get one from both entities.
Both? Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Armando, the floor is all yours for the next 15 minutes. We can't hear you.
Sorry, I did unmute, but it wasn't working. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I'm pleased and delighted. So I started, quite early here. So a little bit about SCORE. For those of you who may not be familiar with SCORE, we are a national not-for-profit organization. And I'm not quite sure why it's not moving. There it is. Let's see.
That's good.
It's that little arrow up there, right? Let's see. No, I'm trying to move up.
I see your slides advancing.
You do? Okay, because I don't see them advancing at all. Okay, so
It's because I presented them, Armando, so you can let me know and I can advance
okay,
them for
all
you.
right. So why don't you start at the beginning then, Narda? Sorry. No, you have to go way back at the beginning. There it is. Okay, so again, for those of you who don't know about SCORE, we provide free mentoring, free training, meaning workshops, and we participate in webinars such as this, and we offer free resources through our website for entrepreneurs and existing business owners. And next slide, please. So our vision is to foster vibrant small business communities through mentoring and education. And mentoring and education are our value proposition. And education means, basically workshops and participation and events like this one. And our mission is we aim to give every person the support they need to thrive as a small business owner. Next slide, please. So SCORE was formed back in 1964 by a group of retired corporate executives who felt pretty strongly about giving back to the community, and that's still one of our values. And they believe strongly also in the economic potential of small businesses. That's why they wanted to also help. Our reach is pretty significant. We have over 12,000 volunteers across the country, across 300 chapters. So we, on any given year, contribute over 3 million hours of service through our volunteers, and we help start over 70,000 businesses, create over 100,000 jobs, and we increase revenue in 70% of our existing business clients. And I'll tell you why in a minute. So our basic mission is that we help small businesses, whether you are thinking about starting a business, whether you have a side hustle and are going to be in business, whether you have a business and whether you're an existing business, and it doesn't matter how many years you've been in business. Next slide, please. So who does SCORE help? As I mentioned, pre-startups, and we help people who come in with a question to say, I have an idea for a business, what do I do next? Startups, and these are people who have a side hustle or a hobby, and they have already started. And so we help them move along the growth path. And then firms that have been in business for a year or more, sometimes they also are considered startups, and we help them with a growth plan, which is how to invest your time, talent, and resources so you can continue to grow. Next slide, please. So we have a huge impact on small businesses, and the majority of them are women. No surprise, women are the fastest growing segment among small business formations. 31% are minorities and 12% are veterans. Next slide, please. So how do we help? Well, as I mentioned at the top, we do free mentoring, and we provide online advice through a chat on our national SCORE website, www.score.org. So all you have to do is go there and ask your question. We also provide workshops. So they're in educational sessions on a myriad of topics for entrepreneurs ranging from business planning to marketing and financing. And just recently, we've had 2 on taxation because that seems to be really quite a popular topic. We have CEO roundtables or peer-to-peer roundtables because we find that CEOs or business owners tend to learn more from each other because they've all been along the same journey, and they tend to take each other quite seriously, and they have solved a lot of interesting business problems in very unique ways. And so people learn a lot from that. As I mentioned also, we have online resources, our website, and I'll give you that at the end. We have a wide collection of articles, blogs, templates, webinars, blogs, and all of the other tools that you can learn and implement in your own business. And they're all of no cost to you. Next slide, please. So how do SCORE mentors help? Well, if you're in the pre-startup or startup phases, we confidentially review your business ideas, and we take confidentiality pretty seriously. So we help you to understand how to apply for licenses, just like my co-panelists, co-presenters here have shown. And we really do refer our clients to the 2 organizations that are represented here with us. And then we talk about how to purchase equipment, how to lease real estate, so people don't make some fatal mistakes. We also provide information on finding legal and accounting services. We don't necessarily make referrals directly because we can't vet everybody, but we do help them understand what it is that they need to look out for. And we help create a detailed business plan. We don't do it for you, but we help you with that. We advise you on how to negotiate with your suppliers, your employees, whoever it is that you're dealing with. And then we coach you through the pre-finance preparations if you're going to be applying for a loan. Next slide, please. So for those who have gone beyond the startup phase and are an existing business, we also help you review and evaluate your business situation. We help you identify the markets that you serve versus the new markets that you are pursuing and whether that's a good idea or not. We look at your product portfolio and seeing what's strong, what's not strong, what it is that you need to change or not. We help with the SWOT analysis, so you can better understand all of those elements, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. We help you identify business options, whether you should grow organically, whether you should grow through acquisitions, what are your options here? And then, we help you, we don't develop them, we help you develop your growth strategy so you can make the appropriate investments. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, we have online resources. We have templates, tips, blogs, and workshops, and they're available to you on demand 24/7. We have over 1,800 templates and tools, 1,000 blog posts, and 100 English and Spanish language workshops to help you start and grow your business. And we generate those every week. So there's a lot of information out there for you to take advantage of. And like the Arizona Department of Revenue, we also have newsletters. So when you come onto our site, we have a little pop-up that gets in your way and it says, click here. So you can sign up for our newsletter. And if you want to have access to all of the information about our webinars and our workshops, that's a really good place to do that. Next slide, please. So the big thing for entrepreneurs is that we often find they want to do it by themselves and they feel misunderstood. Well, with SCORE, you don't have to do this alone. And we don't want you to do it alone, because being a business owner, you have a lot of stakeholders that you need to connect to. So we have what we call a one SCORE philosophy, right? So we have a network, as I mentioned, of 12,000 volunteers. Many of them are retired corporate executives like myself, other people who have bought and sold and run businesses. They have a tremendous amount of experience. And so they know, what it is that they need to do to help you. So we have over 450,000 years of business experience. I know that's kind of an old, so going back 450 years, that's a problem. But, we have a lot of experience and we have a lot of history. We have a lot of subject matter expertise in virtually every industry: accounting and finance, sales and marketing, technology and software. We have partners that go along with that, like Google and Software Advice. We have people who are intellectual property lawyers who do trademarks and copywriting and retail and wholesale trade. So you name it, we have it. Next slide, please. And so we suggest you get started today. Why wait? So if you're going to start or grow your business or become a SCORE volunteer, we would like to have, people to become SCORE volunteers, because this is part of our effort to give back to the community. We currently have 40 volunteers to serve the whole of Southern Arizona. So you can see we could use some more volunteers. This is our contact information. I'll also put it in the chat. And there's my email address if you need to get a hold of me as well. So thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Francisca Narda, for allowing SCORE to be here.
Thank you, Armando. Thank you for the great presentation. And it looks like we have 2 questions. If you guys don't mind, I can read those from the chat and then we'll go over some other questions. Where's the pet store in Marana? Does the person need a business license in the city of Tucson? And that would be for Yvonne. Yvonne, do they need a business license in the city of Tucson if they are opening a business in Marana?
In Marana, no, you would not need a City of Tucson license. No, you would have to contact Marana.
Okay.
And I wonder, I just thought I'd follow up on that. Certainly there might be, what about a mobile pet business? I mean, in other words, if they're set up in Marana, that's their home base, but they are doing businesses in other jurisdictions, what would be your recommendation, Yvonne?
Well, because, okay, if depending on what they're doing within the mobile, for example, I would assume the pet care is a service. So, and unless they're coming in and selling products in the city limits, then they would need a business license or a tax license. But if they're selling out of their home base and it's in Marana, they wouldn't need a
Everyone's not,
license.
or yeah, she might have frozen a little bit. All right, no, that's great.
I'm
It
sorry.
always depends, right? I mean, I think those are the kinds of questions that we want to talk with business owners about.
Correct. And what I strongly urge is they write to us, they call us, and the reason being, and like I said, this is over years of experience, and I think all of us here will acknowledge that sometimes you get a call and somebody says, I do this, okay, but they don't give you the full picture. So, I could draw a tree based on what you tell me, but my tree might be a Christmas tree and your tree might be an oak tree. So I always tell people, be as detailed as you can. If you're calling us on the phone, we'd appreciate it so that we can give you an accurate and informative answer. And then, but always the best thing to do is write to us. We have our email that you can contact us with. And I suggest that also for any questions that you have, and I'm sure Megan will also tune that if you have questions regarding your business, the type of business you do, and if you're questioning anything that you feel is taxable, then do it in writing. And again, here my auditor hat is on, because 4 years down the line, when I come and say, hello, I want to see all your paperwork for 4 years, and you say, well, I thought, and I'm sorry, but you know, it's, if it was taxable and you didn't do your due diligence, then unfortunately, that's when you don't want to see us. And but we do want to educate you up front. So again, ask us up front when you're starting. This is the best time to ask all the questions, and we're all here to help you. We want you to succeed, believe me. If you succeed, we all succeed. So thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne, for the clarification. And thank you, Armando, for mentioning that you're there to help. We get our role with the city of Tucson is to help the community navigate the process. The 17 steps that we're going to be printing out, and we're going to put them on the wall here in our office, because what our goal is to help our business owners be in compliance and understand taxes. And Armando's here to help them navigate the applications, everything he described in his presentation. We have a lot of our community members that might not be tech savvy. In the application, we help them sometimes, but it's good to have a second set of eyes of an expert go over to make sure they're in compliance and they're submitting all the right information, like Yvonne was saying before. Here's the other question. What is the correlation between the city of Tucson business license and paying the Arizona taxes? Megan, would you like to answer that one?
Yeah, I was wondering which one of us that was going to go to. So as Yvonne mentioned, in 2017, the Department of Revenue came to centralized location for tax reporting. So that means that you have to be licensed with the state. So if you're doing taxable or you're participating in taxable activities, you have to license with the state. That is the state business license. We try to refrain from calling it a business license. It's a transaction privilege tax license, because cities and towns may have their own licensing requirements. And that's where you get into a business license or a business registration. But once you have your Arizona TPT license, we're going to license you for both the state and the city. And then you use that number that we provide you to file and pay your transaction privilege taxes.
Thank you for that clarification.
Any kind of city or town business license, business registration is in addition to a transaction privilege tax license. So we want all business owners to know that even if you license with the state, you need to check with your individual city or town to see what they require.
That's so great. And I think you already answered my first question. I was going to ask, what are some suggestions or recommendations that participants should be aware of to be in compliance with the state and the city? So I think you covered that. Here's the big one, and I am so looking forward to, I want to hear from you guys. Coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic, has anything changed in regards to tax reporting going forward? What do you want our business owners, our community, to know about the changes, if there are any?
So from a state perspective, there's not any changes to how you file and pay. The only changes that have been made in light of COVID were to our establishment, so coming into the department. We are still operating by appointment only. So if you need one-on-one assistance, or you need to come in and drop off something or make a payment, you are required to have an appointment. Otherwise, all reporting and paying is business as usual, preferably done through aztaxes.com or aztaxes.gov.
Mm-hmm. So I would add to that, I don't think anything really has changed, but the thing that I found with small business owners is they had to learn a lot about changing their business models and pivoting during the pandemic. And so that lifelong learning capability needs to be there again and still, because things do change and tax laws change all the time, and licensing requirements and compliance things change all the time. They may change subtly, but it's very helpful to know upfront what it is that you need to know before you get into trouble. And the other thing I would suggest, and we run into this all the time, is we have courses on helping people organize their paperwork and keep track of it, because that really is the core of compliance. And so we encourage our small business owners to do that, but also to learn about what documents they need and also what documents they need to read so that they remain in compliance and not get in trouble with the Arizona Taxing Authority or the city.
Thank you, Armando. Yvonne, would you like to add anything to the question?
No, I think Armando and Megan covered it. Armando brought up the documentation, which was something that I think is very important as far as making sure that you keep good documentation. Even if you use the new tax products that provide you with all this easy access, always print out, always have at least one hard copy. And let me just give you a real quick example is that these tax products, they'll give you the information at that point in time. So you may base your return on what that report gives you. Okay. But then what happens is that down the road, you may adjust it for some reason, either something gets refunded or whatever. And depending on if you're a cash or accrual basis, things get changed around. And if you don't have that hard copy to show, well, this is why I reported in a certain way, again, unfortunately, we can come down 4 years later and say, please show us your records for that year. And if you don't have something to back it up, unfortunately, we have to disallow it. So it's good to keep your records, very important. Now everything's electronics, so keep backup copies if you can, and store them so that, and also if you have changes in personnel, a lot of times you're using one bookkeeper, then it changes. And also, I want to also let you know, all of you that are actual owners or that are starting your business yourselves, I am so glad that you're participating in these classes. Get to know what your business should be doing, and don't just count on a bookkeeper or a CPA. Even a CPA makes mistakes, okay? So make sure that you have at least a basic understanding of what you need to report, what needs to be looked at, and believe me, that'll help you way down the road. So again, I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Yvonne. That's very helpful information. We want to help our businesses meet their tax obligations, be in compliance, file on time. What are some, and I know both of you have extensive background in auditing businesses, so we're very lucky to have you share some good practices, some good insight. What would be helpful for our business owners to do upfront, or maybe they're an existing business, they want to grow, expand. What are some of the recommendations that you would tell them to do in order to be in compliance and save a headache of getting audited?
Again, documentation. I'm sorry, I'm jumping in. But again, documentation is number one. Just, keep it simple. Don't overwhelm yourself with too much. Try and do some research. If the more you do up front, a lot of when we used to do our little classes ourselves, the first thing I would tell people is, you know what, you can even get a basic Excel spreadsheet and just put your daily amount. On this day, this is what I did. What did I sell? Is it taxable? Is it not taxable? How much tax did I charge? Set up something simple. And then at the end of the month, all you have to do is total numbers and you got it made. Again, nowadays, everything's apps, everything's, programs that are easy to follow. And again, that's great and they're wonderful, but just make sure that you keep a copy somewhere that lets you go back and find where things came from. So that's the best advice I can give you, honestly.
Thank you, Yvonne. Megan, would you like to add anything to that?
Sure, although I think Yvonne hit the nail on the head there, and especially when she said that as a property owner, you still need to have a line of sight into your books and records. You hire CPAs, you hire bookkeepers, office managers, but as the property owner, you can tell what I'm thinking about. As the business owner, you still need to have oversight into all of that, because ultimately you're the responsible party. You own the business. So she's 100% truly stay on top of it, like know what's going on. You may not need to understand the complexity of everything, but know the basics.
Yeah. And I would just add, though, that, you know, these are all really great resources for business owners. I mean, all those classes that you had through the year-end calendar, Megan, I mean, really, that's where you get all your information. And then you really understand why you keep what you keep. It's not just, oh, I'll just put this in the pile, right? And so I think it really is important for small business owners to at least get conversant with taxes and tax law, so they can have a meaningful conversation with their bookkeepers and their CPAs, and so that they know what's going on, and also that they keep their business in compliance.
Thank you, Armando. And actually, this question is for you. What are some of the, when finding an accountant, what are the things that business owners should look for and making sure they're finding the right person, right? Because it's crucial for the success of the business. What would you recommend what homework do they need to do in advance?
Sure. Well, you know, I'm going to be transparent and share my bias about that. You know, I don't believe that accountants and bookkeepers are just numbers people, because, you know, if they do their job correctly, they also know how the business functions and what the business owner should be doing or not doing. And so, you know, I would recommend that small business owners actually interview at least 3 candidates, right? And find out if they are actually a fit for their business, because you don't want a big, expensive accounting firm for your small business. But, you know, you also want, you know, someone who's going to grow with you, you know, who's maybe young and eager, but they also have to know what the heck they're doing. But what you also want is not just someone to, you know, hand your monthly closes and your year-end close, that you want them to sit down with you every month and say, this is how much money you made. This is how much money you lost. This is where your expenses are going. Why are you doing this? So that people really have an understanding of what is happening in their business. And to the extent that you can be really, really lucky and find an accountant that understands business as well as numbers and can also serve as a business counselor, that's really the ideal. They have to play those 2 roles for them to have any material value.
Very helpful, thank you. And here's the last question. We're almost running out of time, and my boss wants to be respectful. I love taxes and I love being able to help our community. And here's the reality. In the past years, our businesses suffered through the pandemic, and, you know, some of them got sick and sales declined. Are there any resources available for our business owners if they need to file an extension, if they didn't file taxes, if for whatever reason they need a little help? I would love to hear from the state and from the city, what are the resources to help them get through this difficult time?
Yeah, so unfortunately, there are no extensions when it comes to transaction privilege tax. They are due the 20th of the month following the reporting period, and delinquent if not received on or before the last business day of the month. However, we know things happen, and we are not heartless people. We understand that people get sick and businesses suffer. So the best thing that I can tell you to do is file your returns. Even if they're late, file your returns. The late file penalty is a lot more than the late pay penalty. So even if you cannot pay your returns right now, if you can't pay the balance, file the returns, okay? Because then the next thing that you can do is you can request penalty abatement. And that is your chance just to explain to the department what happened. Hey, I got sick, my business suffered. I wasn't there for 2 months out of the year, and because of that, X, Y, and Z fell behind. And we'll review it. It is on a case-by-case basis, but the first thing you got to do is make sure you're filing your returns. So again, even if you can't pay them now, file them now, and then you can request penalty abatement on the back end.
Thank you, Megan. Yvonne?
Basically the same. I mean, well, we're, again, the state administers our tax, so they're the ones in charge of the penalties and so forth. And they can, again, depending on your situation, they'll work with you. Believe me. Again, we're all trying to make sure that everybody's a success. So talk to them, but try and make sure that you at least attempt to file your return, get it in there. That at least alleviates one penalty, and then we can work with you on the late payment penalty. So that's basically, and again, there may be, if you have more questions, please contact. I'm not a licensed investigator, so they have a few more options that I may not be aware of. So please contact us. Ask, ask the questions. See what we can do to help you.
Thank you.
If I
It's
could
very
just add one more thing real quick is talk to us. If we call you, don't send us a voicemail, don't not return our phone calls. The worst thing is the unknown, right? So talk to us, either like answer the letters that we send you. If we send you an email, answer the email. The Department of Revenue does call. We are not like the IRS where they don't call you. We do make phone calls. So if you ever have a question and you get a voicemail that says it's the Department of Revenue, you could Google the number. It'll come up as either State of Arizona or Department of Revenue. But just talk to us. Let us know. Have a conversation with whoever it is on the other end of that phone. Let them know what's going on, and we'll work together to resolve your case.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. A lot of the questions that we get through our business line is, e-commerce, renewing your license, I guess, staying on top of renewing the business license every year, filing zeros. If you don't have any sales, filing zeros, right, is better than not filing at all. And you can always rely on Armando, ourselves, to help you navigate the paperwork. So not alone. We love questions and we love helping you. And now that I have both of you email, I'll definitely be forwarding some of those questions. So we appreciate your time very much. And with that, I'm gonna let Barbara close the webinar.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you all. I learned a lot. I think our business community has learned a lot. And again, this will be recorded so we can refer people back to it. And certainly I was thinking about the bilingual approach. If there is a desire to do this same webinar or same discussion in Spanish, then Francisca would be the one to help put that together. So we'll follow up with that as a possibility, and we'll certainly help any one of you should you have an opportunity to need help and assistance with a client that speaks Spanish. Please let us know, because we'll get our team out there and help you. All right, fantastic. Well, it is time to wrap up. We'll be back next month on Tuesday, April 26th at 3 p.m. Be sure to watch your inbox for the announcement and registration link. We'll keep you connecting for success. And don't forget, as Francisca mentioned, you can call our City of Tucson Economic Initiative Small Business Assistance Line at 520-837-4100. And visit connecttucson.com as well for resources or to sign up for our email newsletters and updates. So with that, everyone, have a great afternoon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.